Okay, so this is my 1986 Chevy Military M1008 pickup. I literally just picked this up today. I have not touched it. I did a quick intro video, and now we're going to do a walk around and evaluate this truck. I said I have not done anything to it but unload it and do a quick evaluation on it before I shot this video. And I'm pretty well convinced that this is a diamond in the rough. This is pretty well exactly how you would like to find one of these trucks. So let's start here in the front. The brush guard is obviously missing. The shackles are missing, which is fairly typical. Well, one of them is remaining. The grill is pretty well broken. It's been painted by a fire department red inside and out. A lot of times they'll leave the inside green. This particular truck, they went ahead and painted the rest of it red also. So the paint's faded, flaking. There's a crease on this passenger fender. In the wheel well, you're starting to see this was undercoated, and yet that fender well still rotted out right there. That seems to be really typical. They're always rotted out around where that brace is to bolt them in. But this truck, from what I've seen after I got a better look at it, I didn't get a really good look at it before I bought it because there wasn't a lot of room to look at it. This was undercoated very well when it was new. Not after it started rusting. It was undercoated when it was new. And I'm going to show you that in a minute, how well preserved this truck actually is. So we got a big crease in the fender. We got some rust starting in the cab corner. I'm sure that that'll blow through when I go to clean it up. Fender looks good at the bottom. Bottom of the door is rusty. You see this truck sat for 15 years under a carport. There's a small section that I eventually cleaned off to look inside after the second time I come back to look at it. I got to get a little peek at the inside, but initially I wasn't even able to look at the inside of it because the windows were so filthy. Okay, so the inside's been painted red. The door panels are still showing color really well. I'm used to seeing on the trucks that I've had, I'm used to seeing the panels faded a lot more than that. There is some rust starting on the floors. This is actually just a cover on the dash. It's like a cap. I'm going to remove that and see how bad the dash is underneath. The seat is pretty decent. It has some small tears in it, but I'm satisfied with it. That back window, I guess, has been tinted. I'm going to see if that's film that I could peel off. The rifle mounts behind the seat belts have been removed, so they don't appear that they were stolen. They were removed before it was painted red, so I believe at one time the military was removing that type of stuff before they repurposed these, and then at some point they just didn't care and left all that type of stuff in. So we got overspray all over everything, red over the lower panel on that diagnostic connector. Apparently the brake pedal's been missing for a while, emergency brake pedal. This is drilled on both sides of the bed for antenna mounts. Now here's where it starts to get better. This was one view that I was able to get when I was initially looking at the truck. So you could see there's undercoating, and where it's flaking off, it's actually really clean underneath. So that was definitely done when the truck was new. So I'm going to try to clean all that off. And I want to show you another area under the cab that really got me. This is when I was looking at the truck initially. I reached my hand behind here to see if the inner part of the structure was good, bad, or ugly. And where I did, the undercoating flaked off, and you can see that's how clean, hopefully, most of the cab is under the undercoating. That is day one new. As good as it gets. So I'm going to soak this in degreaser or kerosene and then try to pressure wash, clean the rest of this off. But so where it wasn't flaked off, you wouldn't know if this was covering up rust or preventing it. In this case, they did a very thorough undercoating on this to prevent rust. Okay, so in the back, the exhaust is still looking intact. It's got the 14 volt in it. Nothing seems to be missing here or messed up. A lot of undercoating on the bed floor. I'm sure that'll look really good when that's all cleaned off. The bed looks like it's in good shape. It's not all beat up. A lot of these trucks are caved in down the side. And what I was told that was from is when they maybe first started selling these, they would move them, load them, whatever, with forklifts. And apparently they really didn't care about damaging the trucks doing that. They were probably selling them dirt cheap. So they would just get slammed by the forklifts. A lot of these have that dents all on the side. And that is, I was told that is forklift damage from when they first started selling them and loading them, moving them, whatever they had to do. Okay, so we're missing the tailgate back here. We got the shackle mounts coming out the back, but the shackles are missing. Pinto's in place, bumper's nice and straight. We got some wear and tear in the bed. We got these tie downs that the M1008 uses. They're in all four corners, so those are in place. This side, there's no real damage as per se. The top of the bed sides have corrosion. I don't know if some of that will pinhole through or not. If it does, I'll just deal with it as necessary. So back into this side here. The door tag is intact. That was taped off fairly well, not removed when it was painted. I was surprised to see the radio delete plate still in place on this truck. A lot of times that's missing, and I would have thought with the fire department that they would have done something with that would be missing. That's nice to see that that's in place. Like I said, the seat is in decent condition. It does have some tears. And the door jamb tag here is still in place. The M1008s are 8,800 pound GVW. And like I said, as far as thorough rust proofing when this was new, they even went as far as there's plugs all along the front at the top of the windshield. I don't really know that so much with this generation truck, but the ones before this were notorious for rotting out there. So that's probably why that was done. They were really thorough with rust proofing this. So now we're under the hood. The hood, for some reason, don't know why, was replaced with a new GM hood at some point. I said this truck sat for 15 years, and it was all because of supposedly the engine having a rod knock. And I have my own suspicions on what the cause of that is. I'm going to address that here after I start getting this cleaned up enough to work on it better. So, but everything seems to be in place here. All the 24 volt systems all in place. The dual alternators, all the battery cables. There's a lot of undercoating on the fender wells, the frame, everything under the hood here. And like I said, this was done when this was new, because that's all like new underneath the undercoating. So, but we got that all on the firewall. But that's good, because I didn't get to look under the hood before I bought this, and I was hoping that they hadn't sprayed this all red under the hood, because that would have been a lot more to undo. The radiator was replaced at some point. That's a plastic tank radiator. That's the first time I've seen that. It does have the oil cooler lines bolted into it correctly, so apparently that was the correct replacement at whatever time that was done. So I don't anticipate this engine being stuck, but I do want to go over, I'm just going to run a separate line directly to the lift pump out of a gas can to initially get this going, and then pump the tank out and see what else has to be done. But this is looking really promising to me right now. I'm going to start cleaning it up, and I'll post videos as I do different things, getting it running. I'll paint the inside of that probably first, then the outside, and take some videos as I go along and show the progress. Thanks for watching.